Hey, everybody, this is Evanie Lawson with the Self Love Center. Today, we are going to be talking about how to let go of tough times or how to deal with it. And since this is the end of February, I wanted to really close out with a lot of self loving techniques that you can do for yourself to heal the tough times that you're going through. So let's just dive right into it, okay? So the first thing that I want to address is, what are tough times? Tough times are basically what they sound like, right? It's hard, it's chaotic, it's dramatic, it's rough, it feels uncomfortable. And in these moments is when we choose to protect ourselves the most. On a subconscious level, when something hurts, we automatically go in to protect ourselves. And when we start protecting ourselves, we do it in a number of ways. Some people, when they're going through tough times, choose to numb. Some people choose, and when I say numb, they'll use substances, they'll use sex, they'll use distractions, they'll go shopping, they'll eat food, things like that. That's what numbing looks like. Numbing looks like anything that creates a distraction long enough so that you somehow seem to forget about the pain, that you're not focusing on the pain of the tough times. So that's what numbing looks like. Another way that we protect ourselves is we blame other people, right? We start blaming the other person. We blame the situation. We don't take credit for it. We don't take any fault for it. We just start blaming. We become very blamatory. Um, And even when we become blamatory, we also criticize. Because when we deflect or project, we either start letting the other person know what they done wrong so that we can take the issues off of us, or we start to blame them for the fact that we're going through the tough times. So we protect ourselves in multiple ways, and we do them through defense mechanisms, and those are defense mechanisms. It's the way that our ego knows how to protect us. That's the ego's job. The ego's job is to protect us. We were built in with a primary instinctual response system, and that response system is fight, flight, or freeze, right? So you're either going to fight it out, you're going to go away from it, or you're going to pause and maybe act like nothing has happened. So some people choose to deny, right? We can deny the problem exists. We can forget that the problem exists. We'll say, it's not a big deal, and we'll keep it pushing. But it's still affecting us. The tough times still keep showing up over and over again. So I want to share this story about the butterfly. If any of you know about the development of a butterfly, it starts as a tiny little egg, and then that egg grows up into this wonderful cocoon, because it starts to develop, right? Just like babies, we grow up in a sack. And so this butterfly, in order for it to become a butterfly, it has to hang out in this cocoon for a certain amount of time. And if you know anything about this cocoon, once the butterfly starts getting its wings and is ready to sprout, it starts to bust through that cocoon. And that cocoon, once they bust through it, it has a lot of blood, and a lot of little bones are breaking, and it's a lot of stress, and it's a lot of pain. There's little micro teeth and little microfibers that irritate that butterfly so that it can bust through that cocoon shell. And once it busts through, then it has the ability to fly. It has the ability to become a butterfly and live for the next 24 hours. Well, the only difference between a butterfly and a human is that butterflies don't have doctors, and butterflies don't have distractions. Butterflies go through the pain, they go through the friction, and then they rise up and become who they are. As humans, we have doctors to give us Valiums and Xanaxes and pills. We have distractions that we talked about earlier that numb the pain, that get rid of the pain, that blame the other person. And we choose to go through those to deal with the pain instead of allowing the friction of our own cocoon. So when you're going through a tough time, imagine yourself as that butterfly. You're going through a cocoon. The best thing you can start to do is allow it. Allow the pain. The pain is where the growth lives. Because in order for that butterfly to become a butterfly and flap its wings, it had to go through the pain. There is no other way. And in order for us to flap our wings and to keep moving, we have to go through the pain. There's no other way. So if you've ever worked with me, you know that I specifically preach this message a lot, which is learning how to sit with pain. When we do the work together, I teach you how not to numb. I teach you how to move past the tough times so that you can transform those tough times into the gift that's getting you closer and closer to the truest parts of yourself. So a big part of that is shifting your mindset. And we talk a lot about that in my Unapologetically Bold and Free program. And so I want to give you guys some tools today on how to get through tough times. And I wrote them down so you'll see me looking down a little bit. But the thing that I want to say to you is you've got to feel it, you've got to deal with it, and that's the only way you can heal it, right? Feel it, deal it, and heal it. Healing comes after you have confronted and addressed the pain. So the first thing that I want you to do, take a deep breath and talk about the pain. Most of the times when bad things happen to us, we either choose to keep it inside of ourselves or we tell a small group of people. We don't let everybody know what's going on. We pretend that everything is okay because we've got to get through the day. A lot of us have jobs we've got to work through. We have families. We have other obligations. And those obligations really get in the way of us talking about the pain. And then they create enough distractions long enough so that we forget that the pain existed and we just keep it moving, right? Talk about the pain. And I mean purposely talk about the pain. I'm not saying just spending some time just to vent, but literally purposely talk about the pain. Assign a friend that you feel very comfortable with. Get a therapist that you feel very comfortable with. Get a healer. Get somebody that you feel comfortable with so that they can hold space for you. And in that moment of conversation, your part is to just tell them, this is what I want to talk about. This is the pain. Now, if you don't have access to a professional and you just have family or a friend, allow that person to just sit there. Let them know you don't want anything else from them except for them listening to your pain. You don't need any advice unless you want it. But allow yourself to sit with the pain. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. And if you don't have anybody, you don't have support systems, I hear that from other people. They don't have people that they feel comfortable around. They don't have people they trust. Get a journal. Write it out. That's another way to talk it out. Or talk to yourself. No matter what, the pain has to come up and out of your mouth. That's the first step. The second step is to sit with the pain. When I say sit with the pain, sitting with the pain looks like allowing yourself to feel. So if you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. If you want to jump up and down, but feel the pain. Feeling the pain looks like, okay, this thought just popped into my head and it makes me really uncomfortable right now. Instead of getting on my phone and distracting myself because I can't get the thought out of my head, instead of watching TV or going shopping or smoking or drinking, or popping a pill to get rid of the discomfort because I can't deal with it. Instead of doing that, what would happen if you allowed that pain to sit in your body? What would happen? The pain will start to slowly move. It'll start to create this cathartic experience for you. Allow the pain to be present, just allowing yourself to sit with the pain. Sitting with the pain is not always easy, and it can be very challenging for a lot of people. And this is why I highly suggest getting a professional to help you sit with the pain, or someone who can really be a trusted companion for you to help you sit with the pain. In the work that I do with the clients that I work with, we do a lot of sitting with the pain. I teach them how to get comfortable with the discomfort so that you can do this on your own. And that's a big part of how I teach. So talk it out and feel it out, right? Then the third thing you need to do is start dealing with the pain. This means confronting the issue. Instead of pushing it away, running from it, fighting it by blaming or criticizing other people or the situations, take responsibility. What have you created in your life? We are the creators of our own lives, which means we get to choose the people we hang with. We get to choose the settings that we're in. We get to choose what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what we're believing about what we're doing. So if there's things going on in your world that seems out of control, start looking at how can I lighten the load a little bit? Is there people in relationships that you're dealing with that you can let go of, that are just toxic, and all they do is just make you feel even worse about yourself, or while you're with them you just feel like, wow. Is there job situations that you're just struggling to get up and go to on a regular basis because you feel like you're selling your soul to the devil, and you would want to be doing a whole lot more? Are you acting out of obligation? Because if you're acting out of obligation, when you feel obligated to do something because, I don't want to hurt the other person's feeling, or I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, or I have to do this because this is the only way I can get my bills paid, or I have to do this because I have a family, or I have to do. If you have to do anything, start assessing. Is this an obligation that I've placed on myself? And is this obligation creating more stress than inspiration? And if the answer is yes, beloved, it's time to change the course of the game. You have the opportunity to start doing something different. If that means letting things go and pushing them off to the side, or sticking with them up until a certain point by giving yourself a time period, you'll say, okay, I'll only deal with this for the next 6 months, or I'll only deal with this for the next 3 months. And here is my exit strategy. And this is what I'll be doing afterwards. Right? A big part of what I'm going through right now is a lot of this. I'm working a 40-hour work week, and I'm running my business. And imagine, that's a lot of hours throughout my week that is completely dedicated to helping other people. And in that 40-hour work week, it's not for me, right? I am meant to thrive. And my goal is to run my business full time without worrying about a 40-hour work week. So I've given myself a time period. I said, okay, for the next several months, this is what I will be working on. So I've given myself these obstacles so that once I meet the obstacles, I can move beyond this 40-hour work week and then step into my business full time. And there's benefits to my situation right now. The 40-hour work week is giving me a lot of access to a financial income support that is helping me build my business. And it's allowing me to still do what I love, which is therapy and helping people and working with clients. So there's some benefits to why I'm doing the work. So for you, if you're in a situation you feel locked into and you believe that you're locked into it and it cannot change, it's time to get some support. There is a way to change your situation. And if you are not able to see it on your own, it's time to reach out to a professional, someone who can help you. Get friends who are very brilliant in seeing things from a different perspective. So that's what you have to do. Start setting goals, changing your mindset. This is what's called dealing with the issue, right? So you're going to talk it out, you're going to fill it out, and you're going to deal with the issues. You're going to deal it out, right? And then the fourth and final way to take care of yourself through tough times, self-care. I don't care who you are, from the mountains to the sea. If you are burnt out, your body is tight, there's tension all around you, you're getting physical symptoms, you start to feel like there's not enough time in the day, you don't feel like you're getting enough sleep, you are burnt out. So you need some self-care time, taking care of yourself. Carve out time specifically where you come first and then your tasks, then your duties, then your conflicts, then your dramas. If you're always in a dramatic situation where it seems like trouble just follows you over and over again, it's time to do some work, some deeper work. And while it's happening, try to put yourself first. So say your mind is racing and you're overthinking a lot. Come back home to yourself. Really take a pause. Pause first, always pausing. Because there's multiple opportunities, but you can choose to stay focusing on the problem at hand over and over and over again in your mind. Or you can say, before I focus on this problem today, I'm going to take care of myself. What does taking care of myself look like? What does taking care of myself look like? I'll share my own story. Taking care of me looks like waking up. When I first wake up, instead of getting on my phone, turning on my Alexa, I don't want to talk because she might hear me, but turning on my music and playing it so that I can do some meditation. So I'll do 30 minutes of meditation, deep breathing, gratitude, and energy healing. And I group them up in times. I may do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes here and there. But for me, that makes me feel good. So when I'm ready to start the day, I go ahead and I make my green smoothie that I have right now because it's morning time. And I get ready to start my day. But that works for me. Find something that works for you. Maybe if you're having your coffee in the morning, instead of doing a bunch of things while you're sipping your coffee, maybe take some time to just breathe while you're drinking your coffee. Or maybe at the end of the day, you wind down. And instead of winding down the same way every night with maybe a drink or smoking or watching Netflix over and over again, you can push those off to the side for just a moment. Before you do any of those, put yourself first and say, how can I take care of myself? And then get back to all that later. My job is never to tell anyone to stop their numbing techniques. Those things will start to fall away on their own. The minute you start to put yourself first, The minute you start to feel the emotions, the minute you start to talk it all out without the blame and the criticism, the minute you start to just deal and confront the issues creating the problems, the minute you do all of those things and you do them consistently and with practice, is the minute those numbing techniques start to fade away for you. Because what'll happen is you'll notice that the tough times, they happen less frequently. So maybe they happen once a week. They may start happening less than that, right? Maybe they happen every day. Maybe they start going less than that. The minute you start confronting and the quicker you get at it and dealing with it and feeling it is the minute things start to bubble up and change in your world. Your mind becomes different because now you can see the world differently. You can look at people differently. You can start to accept that your pain actually is causing, is the birth of more joy. Your pain is the birth of more joy. Tough times are a gift, man. And when you can start to see that and shift that is the minute things start to look very different in your world. So before you allow yourself to do any of the things that you believe you shouldn't do, come back into yourself and take care of yourself. Self-care is the number one thing, although it's the fourth thing on my list. It's the number one thing that you can do to take care of yourself. Well, beautiful people, I hope this video was helpful to teach you how to deal with some tough times. With much love from my heart to yours, have a great evening, a great day wherever you are.